I'm wasting no time. Man, it's business time. I'm done. Gotta go. It's like, this is far too late to begin recording, so I was like, why not? Let's go. You know what I mean?
I ain't got no
That's why I say, welcome to Two Lazy Guys. I'm Dave.
Yep. And I'm Jared, the other half of the Two Lazy Guys.
Yeah. Hey, on the way up, check this out. Look what I got. I robbed a leprechaun, I did. Got me a golden pot of monies here. Look at this. You ever seen one of these before?
That is so thick.
I know. That is a brand new hotel scribble pad.
It's more than 7 sheets.
It
How
might
did you
be.
do that?
I had to hit up the front desk. It wasn't easy.
Did you tell her, hey, look over there, and then reach over the counter?
It's more than 7. It's 8.
Bam!
8
I'm
brand new,
you.
fresh from the drawer. 8 little pieces of paper.
It's never been used. Never been used. See, the
It
one
smells like new notepad.
The one I got, guaranteed. That action was used.
Yeah, you know this one's used. I wrote on a cardboard.
Oh, shoot. You know what? We still messed up the intro because it's
so?
Two Lazy Guys, Tonight we were discussing...
Episode 8.
Ocho. The Ocho.
The Big Ocho.
The Big Ocho.
Of Westworld.
Yes.
Yes,
Westworld. All right. There we go. Yep. We get sidetracked on freaking crappy...
I don't know, whatever, everything.
That you get from hotels.
I know. Well, you know, you got to enjoy the small things in life.
Oh, I tend to, because that's all you ever get anymore.
Yeah, I gotta... Let me grab my pen.
All right,
my pen's gone.
What? No, it's right. Is this your pen?
Oh, nope, this one's mine here. It says residence.
Okay. I was going to say, hey, wait a minute.
Okay.
Shall we go down the line, backwards, forwards? What do you want to do?
I don't know. Well, start at the beginning and then deviate from there at least.
Okay. Well...
Maybe you got a better intro note than I do. I don't know.
From reading my notes, it jogs my memory to remember that we start off on Bernard.
We do?
Yeah, because he's completely messed up from taking out his former lover, right?
Yeah.
So he was just...
Once again, poor Bernard.
Yeah, he's just surrounded by tragedy. I mean, come on. You got a coworker that keeps throwing in your face that your son dies, and for some stupid reason won't let that go.
It's to push his buttons. He knows how to push Bernard's buttons.
He certainly does. But yeah, so I don't know. That part just played out to where, you know, I found it interesting that
and
Ford had to make the distinction between himself and God.
Yeah. Well, and also, you know, Ford points out that he built Bernard to help him with emotions. Because he was saying that he could not, the other engineers could not get it right. And so he built Bernard to help him with emotions. Because he wanted all the grays in between. Before, their emotions were... like blacks and whites, like love, hate.
Right.
There was no nuanced in between. So
Bernard became his personal case study.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
Wonder why he latched onto him though.
I don't know.
That's interesting. Okay. Well, so yeah, I guess we could keep going down the list, or I don't know. Well,
it said that. Well, you know, they wanted. He built him to capture. All of the grays, the emotions, and he listed, you know, he said love, hate, but not heart or something. And my of course my immediate, you know, reaction was the greatest of all Captain Planet elements, heart.
I never really watched that one, but I know of it. That's great.
But yeah, that also that Ford basically says he made Bernard kill Teresa because she threatened his dominion. And he'd made some quote about knowledge. You know, he said, "What is one life to sacrifice for the knowledge, the dominion that I would gain?" Or something like that. I don't know where the quote's from.
Yeah, no, I remember it too. some of the more deeper parts of this seem to harken back to things that I've heard before. I don't know if I'm recalling case studies in psychology class or what, but or maybe even flipping scripture,
A Charlie Manson thing.
Sure, yeah, but
Indoctrinate all.
no, yeah. There's all kinds of things that try to turn me on to. Oh,
Hey,
I've heard that before. I know that from
all
somewhere.
the things that try to turn you on.
Yeah,
To other
I always key on to things that turn me on.
Mm-hmm.
But no, I enjoyed Maeve's story because I mean you got Bernard clearly. Mm-hmm. It's become very Bernard centric, but Maeve's story is just continuing on.
Yeah.
I don't know what other notes do you have along the lines of Bernard?
There was a the whole front section was like Bernard going through and like CSI scrubbing the whole. Well, Teresa's life and existence in his apartment clearly amounted to a tiny envelope, like a stray hair there in his bed. He went and torched it all.
Oh yeah.
He's going and he was going through the videos. Like you scroll back through the footage of him and Teresa walking or something, and he just like remove person slider. Like that's like I wonder what version of like.
It was
Adobe
like dropping the opacity.
Or, Adobe Premiere they're on.
Yeah.
You just click a person in the frame and slide that transparency, alpha 0 on this guy.
Yeah.
The computer just generates some background for you.
Oh, that was cool.
And I noticed that whenever he's poking around on his tablet, I'm not sure why I'd even noted that, but the Delos, the company's name Delos was all caps except for the E. Delos. And I don't know if there's something I could probably Google if I could be troubled to try and look at why that is. But
it's funny you say that now because at no time have I ever thought how close Delos is to Dolores.
Yeah, it is. They share a lot of the same letters.
I never thought about that.
5 of them.
Is that one of those, what's it called, where you just...
Acrobats.
Yeah, where you rearrange the letters in the name and get another name.
Boggle. You play Boggle that way?
Yeah, it's got a name, and I'm sure somebody out there knows what it is. It starts
Scrabble.
with a name. I can't remember.
Tiles. Well, but whenever it starts, like it's you watch Bernard scrub everything CSI style. He's clearly a big fan of the CSI, and then but whenever it transitions to Maeve, like the first thing I noticed was that I was probably for the second time, I immediately recognized the song that the piano was playing. It was playing "Rising Sun" by the Animals.
Oh, was it?
Yeah. And I was like, oh man, because the lead-in lyrics to that are, there's a house that they call the Rising Sun.
Oh yeah.
And it's been the ruin of
right.
many a good boy. Or a poor boy. It's been the ruin of many a poor boy. And I was like, yeah, that's a big, I think, a commentary on the possibly the park.
Or
it's been the ruin of many a good person.
Or the story of William.
Yeah, or could be pointing specifically to William.
Yeah. Because, he started out as a white hat.
Mm-hmm. Oh, man. And the lady who gives him his white hat, that hands him the white hat, that's there is also
she turns up
in the village way later in the episode. So she's one of the original, like, I don't know, initially we were like, oh, is she a host? She's not.
I was going to say,
she's a host.
She's a host, all right.
Yep.
She's part of Wyatt's group, is what it was, those cannibal-like dudes.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
I didn't even notice that bit. I just noticed that she was in the town that Dolores winds up in at the end.
Yeah, but
at the dance when
we run into her again, it's with Teddy and William. See, I'm just calling the Man in Black.
Oh, is it?
Now.
She's with Teddy. Oh, you mean is that the lady?
That's the lady
that tricked him
at the very end. Yeah, tricks him,
and then the Man in Black says, "Oh, you're here."
Well, why are you calling him Man in Black?
Ford.
Yeah.
Never. Never lets a pretty face go to waste or something like
that. Yeah. Yeah. No, he remembers her from when he first got off the train. Yeah. Because the Man in Black is William, which I said last episode.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, there was because there's the whole time jumpy
Oh yeah, and the time
Like,
jump
you
thing.
know, Quantum Leap. I'm waiting for the dude to pop up with
beyond
the little
ready.
box on his hand. They go, pew, boy, pew, pew, boy. Makes weird
Talking to Ziggy.
noises. Yeah, talking to Ziggy. Yeah, bonk, bonk.
No, yeah.
I don't know where we're going this week, Sam.
It's a great show. Yeah, no, I
On to Maeve.
really enjoyed that. Well, yeah, I mean, we kind of just jumped around on that, but that's cool because I really did enjoy that part too. I'm curious, how the freak did she take down Teddy, who is completely healed from all his maladies?
Yeah, she's took him
with a
down.
flipping arrow.
Yeah, well, but that looked real shallow too, because she stabbed him. That thing looked like it went about an
Exactly.
inch. Teddy's got a real knack for getting like a graze and going, and he falls over, because that happened once before he got shot, like
Yeah.
in the arm, and fell over and began flopping around
like,
like a turtle. It just,
unless
I can't
that-
get up.
A turtle.
Yeah.
Unless that has like blowfish, freaking poison
Yeah,
on
some
the
sort
tip
of
or
poison.
something.
Yep.
He just like immediately becomes paralyzed, and I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, how the heck did you took me by surprise with an arrow, but come on, seriously? How did
Yeah.
that take you down?
Well, and it's clearly, I think that maybe he's been told, like they say told, because Ford cuts the one dude on the face earlier on in the series, and it's like, we only feel what we tell him to.
True.
And so he slashed him in the face. But maybe Teddy's told to just absolutely crumble.
Oh, so
You
maybe
know what I
she
mean?
hit
Maybe
like a
that's
soft
just
spot.
probing, just boop,
Yeah.
and Teddy's just built that way because whenever they're fighting the pig-faced soldier with the man in black,
Yeah.
that dude takes rounds to the chest and blood comes out. It wasn't like he had some. You see blood come out and he drives on.
Yeah.
So clearly that host has been told, you don't register pain. Since they're, not
Yeah, 'cause-
physiologically alive,
Yeah, but
bullets
in
don't actually hurt them.
in that 20 point attribute system, I actually noticed that one of the attributes is directly related to pain. So
Oh,
yeah,
yeah?
on some of these hosts, you could probably just dial that down to 0 and be like,
Yeah, they'll truck on until they
I
just
am
physically.
a robot. Yeah,
You're like
just-
T-800. You could chop them
Exactly.
in half and they'll just keep crawling after you.
exactly. Yeah, so
It's the Arcana.
pretty cool. Well, all right, so yeah, we'll move back, kind of do it a little chronological, maybe. Maeve, what did I write here? Maeve is appalled by her world. Is that when we heard the music?
Well, yeah,
Or-
the music slows down.
Yeah. Well, the whole world seems to slow down. That's excuse me. That's how I noticed that she's so appalled. Is she's just taking it in, and it's all so dirty and icky to her.
Yeah.
And I love the line. This may be the encapsulating line for this episode for me. For
And I'm
episode
glad you're
8.
thinking of that because you mentioned one every single episode, and I never ever pay attention in that regard.
Well, it just. I mean, that's what I really am latching onto in this, is that it's written very well.
Yeah.
It takes me back to some of the early Walking Deads where the writing was just on point. And I really enjoy movies that are written extremely well and make you think. I mean, this is something I don't know how you could just sit there unless you're so baked, completely high or drunk, and not think. I mean, even if you were inebriated, you could
Yeah.
probably watch this show and it'd get you thinking.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
what I enjoy about it.
Back
But
to
so
Inception, huh?
yeah. Still haven't seen that spinning top. But so the line actually it comes from Maeve, and she says, "Time to write my own story." And I think that was like the overall theme of this, because we're learning. I mean, you see the parallels between Bernard's story, where he's not so much writing his own story, and Maeve is going through this awakening to where I'm gonna take control of things.
Yeah, Maeve is clearly. I don't know. To me, Maeve is the host that is quite well, maybe because of her attributes and the way she's always been used. Well, which they point out later. I think she's only been the madam of the house for the last year. That's
Yeah.
later on, but maybe
Well,
because of that and the way that she was re-engineered, I think she's honestly navigating the maze
Right.
at this point to where she's almost through it.
Yeah.
And she's like the only one who's navigating the maze without even realizing it, where all these other characters are actively seeking out the maze.
Yeah, I don't even think she
Maeve
mentions the maze. No.
Yeah, I can't recall her ever mentioning the maze.
And actually, okay.
She'll be the one to get through it.
I don't care if we go in order of my notes or anything. It was in this episode that we learn about 1 year. Because I wrote about Man in Black, if you want to call William that. He created a test that involved Maeve's story, her backstory.
Well,
with her
coincidentally,
daughter,
yeah.
only 1 year removed. So that means she's only been head hooker, or what do you call her?
Maeve, yeah. Madam. They call her Madam.
The Madam.
Madam of the house.
The whorehouse.
Yeah, they leave
it's
out
only
the
been a
whore
year.
bit. They try and class it up.
Oh, yeah.
The Madam of the
true.
house.
But yeah, I mean,
She's got a business card.
to realize that she's dealing with memories that have only been a year removed almost makes you question, so has she ever been through that before? Or did it just happen for the first time a year ago that she was awoken? And that's kind of the way that William paints it. He was like...
It is. The scene where William comes in, like, her storyline may have been where the Indians or / Ghost Nation, I don't remember which, come to her house and kill her. But she switched over to when William comes
right.
in and kills her and her daughter.
Right. Yeah. Because that was the moment where something in her switched off.
Yeah.
That's what it was. She was alive when she refused to die.
Yeah. William said that.
Yeah.
I killed a woman and her child, and then the woman refused to die.
Yeah.
And William's the one who pegs it at a year, because he starts regurgitating backstory at that point.
True.
I'll leave that till later, because I don't want to be like ziggy zaggy all over the place. But
no, yeah, I mean, I can bring it back because we actually had a little bit of Dolores in here, right? We must have, because
we did.
My next note was "Come find me." The "Come find me" is getting really creepy to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, they're layering the voice, so it's several voices. You can't tell who it is.
No.
But
that's because I think it's Arnold's voice.
Arnold, right.
But they've also stated that the hosts hear their own programming as the voice of God. So
right.
if that's the case, then it may be Dolores' voice as well in the mix, saying it, because there's clearly a female voice in it that time. I thought it sounded like a feminine voice, so I was like, well, that may be Arnold and her voice she's hearing.
I missed that, huh? That's an interesting tidbit. I hadn't quite, yeah.
Maybe I don't. Maybe that was just me in my delusional state.
No, that works for me.
I did enjoy Maeve getting root access too, though.
Yes.
She got root access walking around telling people what to do.
Right.
That was pretty great. Super
see.
user do.
Oh, okay. So, I did have a note talking about William recognizes the host girl from his first time to the park. So, we already covered that.
Yeah.
All right. What do you got?
Well, whenever they're there at the river, I was kind of curious initially. I was like, I wonder if... Like, right whenever I watched it, I thought, well, did she, William's like, oh no, this dude's gone. One.
Oh, okay.
They're like, this dude's gone because the dude's mad him, miss or whatever. And so she goes off to get water and comes back. And the guy's there and he basically just death rattle and dies. And I was sort of like, I wonder if William did something to him. Because he seemed a lot stronger. He's like, oh, miss, you gotta help me. We were attacked.
Asking for water.
And asking for, give me some water. And then he's talking to William going, oh, please don't leave me here, And she comes back at water, and the dude, right then he just sort of, and fades out. He seemed stronger when she went to get the water.
Yeah, she probably would have come back faster if she wasn't having so many of these psychotic breaks.
It was just like a half hour she was out there with the canteen in the river, and
jumping back and forth through time in her mind.
Come back and William's surrounded by candy wrappers. Like, all right,
Yeah,
finally.
he's
But
been dead a while.
the guy who's dying, though, says, we were saying El Lazo is mentioned, we'd mentioned him in the past, which is Lawrence's character.
Right.
Or his previous iteration.
Iteration.
Right,
yeah.
And he's mentioned by the dying man, and whenever I wrote it down, I wrote down El Lazo is mentioned by a dying man, but I wrote, because it was a Spanish thing, I wrote El Lazo, which then made me immediately think Lazarus, and then L is the, so I was like, oh, the Lazarus? Is that sort of what they're doing to Lawrence? Because the man keeps coming back.
He's like a bad penny, isn't he?
And he's got that stinking noose around his neck the whole, like all the time. He's always got the noose hanging around his neck.
Yeah.
So I was kind of wondering if El Lazo was a clever way of, just the writers put in something,
It would be hilarious if the writers actually listened to this someday and they're like, dang, if only we had planned it out that good.
Yeah, well, that's, you put it out there too, and it's not yours anymore, and everybody will take over, and
Oh, yeah,
it's
true.
the beauty of art, man.
Yep. Agreed.
It's as bad as you want it to be, or as great as you want.
For some reason, I put the note down that the town, we still don't know what the name of this town is. The town is on the fringes.
Oh, man, yeah, the town, because
The one
Dolores and William Road.
Yeah, the one that's been buried
Yeah.
and re-dug up. And see, that would probably play with their head too, now that I think about it. But and I don't know why.
I'm finally home.
Oh, I know why I wrote this down. This talks to personal things, but wish my boss had my back like Ford had Bernard's.
Yeah.
Because the part where he reinstates Bernard, he's like, I'm gonna need my boy, helping me out, so I expect him to be fully reinstated.
Oh, yeah, well, that's clearly just a ploy there. Because Ford's like, why wouldn't I want my humanoid mechanical man
It's like,
back
did you enjoy firing my
Insider.
right hand man for like a day,
Yeah.
if that?
Yeah, he had fun slamming it, and I can't think of her name now. Like Loft or something is her name. I can't think of what it is.
Oh,
The board
Charlotte.
member. Charlotte? Yeah, I think it's
Charlotte.
Charlotte is her first name.
Um,
He left throwing that in her face.
Oh, yeah. And I honestly don't remember at what point this was said, but I wrote it down for a reason. Recursive beauty, two minds arguing. It just made me question, who's Arnold?
What? Where's that at?
It's up at the front, so it must have taken place
Recursive
in the
mind.
beginning.
Oh, yeah, it was probably
It
something
said
Ford
recursive beauty,
I remember something. I remember. I
two
think it
minds
was, yeah.
arguing. Maybe it was Bernard that said that. Or Dolores?
Or Ford.
Two minds arguing. No, you know what? It could have been Maeve that said that. It's
Or
like
maybe it was Maeve.
two minds. Yeah, two minds arguing.
Maybe that sounds right. Maeve sounds right.
I think she said that. So it totally made me question, who is Arnold?
Yeah, he's in there. The ghost in the machine.
Okay. So, okay. See, we haven't even touched on this yet. So Maeve messing with the two butchers.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Sylvester
Starts having a good old
and
time.
Felix.
Yes.
Sylvester, the F-bomb machine.
Which, by the way, side note,
And
Felix, I was getting ready for work this morning, and I had HBO on.
Yep.
And yeah, this is going to sound ridiculous. I don't care. I had to look it up because I had no clue what the crap I was watching, but it had a very young or younger Felix in it. It was the Sisterhood of Traveling Pants. I think it may have been the second one. But he was a boyfriend in it that knocked up one of the girls, and
oh, okay.
I guess her story was she was worried about getting Prego or something.
You see, there you go. See, they're all hosts.
Yeah.
That was Felix's prior iteration.
Right?
Was a male
Knock it
gigolo.
Yeah. But no, okay, so back to it. She's with the two butchers. The good luck comment made sense when she grabbed the scalpel. You don't want to double cross this woman.
Nope.
Which is funny because
she slashes his neck.
yeah, I mean she opens up an artery. It looked like, but I mean he wasn't bleeding out that fast.
He was bleeding out.
He was bleeding
something
pretty
fierce
good
on the floor,
but,
man.
Yeah, I mean he
I don't
wasn't
know.
like
Yeah, I don't know if she cut an artery. There was something, a big
she didn't
vein.
cut it deep.
Yeah, he was
She
bleeding
didn't
all
cut it
over.
deep. But yeah, and what I thought was interesting is how she sat there watching the life's blood emptying out of him.
Yeah,
and
she was looking
found
at it.
Yeah, she found it interesting, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then she goes ahead and tells Felix, "Here, we might need him."
Yeah.
So he goes ahead and solders them up.
Yeah. Yeah, a little dab of solder will do. They're all hosts, man. It works.
Yeah.
On an interstellar bus. Well, yeah, I know, because Sylvester's all ridiculously angry at Maeve all the time.
Oh, yeah.
Constantly dropping F-bombs. Wants to brick her. Keeps saying brick her like they're talking about a phone or like, oops, I accidentally flashed the wrong firmware to my router.
Right.
But, I mean, yeah, so I got you. It was...
Mm-hmm.
I like Sylvester in that he is just so angry.
He's kind of acting like most people would when they find their job in jeopardy.
Well, but I think his reaction to me, it still seems like there's some sort of social hierarchy, like how afraid they are when Elsie comes down. Mm-hmm. Like, my God, she's from, So
Behavior.
It doesn't seem like maybe it's just their job, like maybe it's sort of like Futurama where like they have a chip and it designates their job and you don't get a different one. So if you lose this one, you got to go live in old New York or something, underneath. Maybe they'll put him down in the basement. I
You
don't
become
know,
a mutant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah, no, I see, and I'm going to jump to my last note, which this was at the very end. I'm not sure why, because it fits perfectly in our discussion here. Can't trust any of the woman robots in Westworld. Far too dangerous. Like I don't know if you've noticed that. It's like the men are just there to kind of help move the story along. Every woman. I mean, come on. You got Armistice. You got Maeve. You got friggin' Dolores.
Yeah.
I mean, name a
got
woman.
Elsie's angry.
They're all dangerous.
But Elsie's a host too. See, because she's a strong female character.
We still have not learned her fate. Which again,
all we get is more and more footage of her being, in a sleeper hold.
Yeah, and see that's the thing, man.
He's got the arm underneath the chin though. That's
right.
that's like UFC tap out.
Yeah,
that's not the $1 Million Dream by Ted DiBiase.
I don't think she's down for the count. I don't.
No, she's gonna come back like Hogan, the third arm drop. Here comes the arm back up.
I'm still holding out my Jiraiya hope.
Okay. Well, I was kind of impressed in that I was able to. I noticed for 8 episodes now, I've thought of and referred to the head of security as Mr. Security.
He has a name?
His name is Mr. Stubbs.
No way.
Yeah, his name is Mr. Stubbs. Didn't look it up.
We don't know.
Somebody
his first
said
name
Mr.
yet?
Stubbs. No.
Oh, okay.
Or somebody said Stubbs, something like that. Whenever they were talking to him.
Okay.
But I was kind of curious because he said, somebody asked, why was Teresa out there because Ford had one of the hosts, I would assume Bernard, dump her body in the chasm where they found the host with the hacksaw to the neck.
Right.
And they were like, oh, she clearly just fell down the same chasm that trying to finish the job.
Right.
Trying to finish the job. And they said, well, why was she out there? Like, what, are there any indicators? And the security guy said, nothing out of Teresa's character. Rather than, we can't figure out anything, it seems really weird. He specifically said, nothing out of character. Like, and to me, they're constantly talking about narratives with the host, and then they say character when talking about Teresa. I was like, uh-oh. Yeah, so maybe that's not the end of Teresa? Or maybe that might be the end of that Teresa host, and because Ford's building, Teresa 2.0. down in his
in his
secret basement
or original.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I think one of the last things we're left with, well, two of the last things, is
what, on your paper?
No.
Oh, okay. I was like, geez, no.
I'm just trying to remember the various threads of story that were going on.
I had to write tiny on this tiny paper.
You had Maeve say, "I'm gonna go and recruit my army," type of thing.
Yep. I need an army, and goes back into Westworld.
Mm-hmm. And she goes back in to hook up with her old boyfriend.
Hector. Hector, man. Hector's a strong host, though, like character-wise. I think maybe she thinks he'd make a good general.
Something, yeah.
I don't know.
And see, what's cool is I wrote Tim Conway shot in the back.
Oh man, see what I thought, because I was watching and I was writing it down as I was thinking about it, and I wrote down, Sheriff Tim Conway lives. Nope. Because I wrote. She was like, and he thinks they're good, law-abiding citizens, and he tips his hat and walks away, and I was like, Sheriff Tim Conway lives. And then I looked up right in time to see, blam, and he goes flying. I was like,
Yeah, because she just looked at him, grins, and like maybe chuckles, and she's like, boom.
Yeah.
Like, and I was like, what? Yeah. Okay.
I know.
Because, I really thought that he was going to have a decent ending, but nope.
Yeah, I know. Well, she goes back in, and I thought it was funny that she's like testing out her powers, like, let's see what I can get away with.
Mm-hmm.
It's like she knows like Jedi mind tricks, and is at the bar there, and is like, this is not the bar tab you're looking for. And the bartender's like, no, you owe me money. She's like,
nope.
Gave him the old Jedi wave,
negative,
and he's like, well, I guess you're right.
And we're going to celebrate, and you're going to give me top shelf.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And and I kind of wondered, like, if whenever they say, they're constantly monitoring the hosts. Mm-hmm. Like, these hosts are going off narratives, and Maeve's running around throwing orders and making people right and left, and nobody from QA or behaviors is up in looking at the map in the round room, Mr. Stubbs / Mr. Security, going, we got like 8 hosts running around, not on narrative. As Maeve's throwing out orders. I was like, I don't know, maybe that's, they just might have glossed over that.
Maybe it's because it's been coded that way, that it wouldn't appear that she's off narrative. I don't know.
Yeah, she does have.
She has administrative rights at this point.
She's got,
So maybe that's something that wouldn't show up.
That's a problem. You get malware on there and it elevates its own permissions. And...
It's kind of like Bernard talking to the computer. Hey, I'm allowed.
Yeah, tell him the elevator. Take me to the basement 82. I'm allowed.
I have permissions. That's what she's doing.
In case you had any doubts, elevator. Let's just get this.
Here we go, system. I'm in charge. Yeah, I mean, that's basically what she's doing, so.
Yeah. Yeah, there's...
But yeah, you must have taken more notes than I did, because, dang,
one other thing I noticed, too, just aesthetically, whenever... Charlotte, I believe it was Charlotte goes in to the ass from Narrative. The dude who told him his story's rubbish. I can't remember his name.
Dude that peed on the map.
He's in the the dude who peed on the map.
Starving artist.
Yeah. that jerk. Oh man. He was teaching a cannibal how to be creepy in his office. When Charlotte came in and was walking around talking, in the background on one of the screens behind her, slightly out of focus, was the pig-headed warrior's design. The one that Teddy and William bought.
Yeah.
Same, like the head. It looked like a boar's head or whatever that had horns, though.
Huh.
That curved a little forward and then up and back.
Like a
same
Loki
design.
helmet.
Yeah, and I mean, it was the same, like, sort of Civil War uniform, like down the front, but it had the bearskin cloak and the same head. And it was the design for it was on his wall. So then I was like, man, how many different directions is this going to go? The guy from Narrative's got, he's throwing people out in the park. Maybe he might have his own. For
And those were supposed to be Wyatt's people, right?
Yeah, I was under the impression those are supposed to be Wyatt's people.
Huh. Yeah, I don't know. Cannibals.
Hmm.
Yeah, that's a good point, though, because it looked like they did go cannibal.
Yeah, I wasn't sure what was happening.
Okay.
Sometimes, I'll notice what's going on and make sense of it in my poor scattered brain, but...
Well, see, for some reason with this episode, I'm having trouble following my own notes. Because
did you not write them down chronologically?
Oh, I don't know.
I don't either. Well,
next I
got
wrote down question of humanity.
That's because Bernard questions reality.
Mm-hmm.
Ford says, because Bernard asks him, well, what's the difference between you and me?
Oh, that question came up again?
Yeah, and Ford replied, basically, there is no difference.
Uh-huh.
And
that must be.
Because that's where he formats Bernard again, but he does it right as Bernard realizes that Ford is a liar because he flashes back to him choking Elsie. Bernard flashes back. He's like, you ever made me do this before? And Ford goes, no. Flashes to him choking Elsie, and he goes, uh-huh. And then Ford hits format.
Okay, so why did I write coincidence does not exist? Humans live in loops. Was that
because that's
Ford
something
explaining?
else? Yeah, Ford explained that as well. Ford said that even us as humans, we live in our own loops. We fall into routines. Which kind of, then I'm...
Do you have any concept of how much that makes me hate my job even more?
Well, that's the case. That's probably the case for almost everybody, I guess.
Because the job becomes a routine.
Oh, yeah. Very much so.
So,
after a while,
I am trapped in a loop currently.
A Mobius strip of misery.
Yes. And okay, so see, you're helping me remember my notes because I said not Elise. Because it must have been the part where he flashed back, and I'm like, not Elise.
Yeah.
Not Elise.
Elsie?
Or Elsie.
Mm-hmm.
Why do I always say her name wrong?
I don't know.
Not my girl.
I don't know. It's a subconscious thing of the fact that you can't ever get the intro right.
Yeah, probably. I think it's because my favorite characters seem to want to die because they're just they have so many layers to themselves.
You go running towards the cliff.
You just decide to kill them off because they're too much for little minds to comprehend. Just like Jiraiya.
Oh man, I gotta scratch off the lady. The lady is a host from the train station at William.
Right. Yep.
Oh, but Dolores goes back to the town, and Lawrence's daughter is there. In her, I'm not even sure if it was a dream or a flashback because you can't tell with Dolores. Whenever they focus on Dolores,
it was because she immediately disappeared.
Yeah, so that's what I said. Like I think
the time jump.
Well, but see, the thing is I'm like, well, but was she there or did Dolores? She said that, and then Dolores flashed into some other memory.
Right. Yeah.
And as they've said before, that the problem with them is that they don't have regular addled and clouded memories. They literally relive everything in the past, and that's why we can't tell.
Why does Dolores have that problem then?
Why does Dolores have what?
She's not remembering things verbatim.
She is. Well, that's the problem. She is, but it's
muddled.
It's sort of like a double exposure, maybe. Like as an example. Maybe I'm getting this wrong too. I don't know, but to me, in my mind, it's like a double exposure. Like a photograph. So while the memories are there, they are sort of overlapping, like literally because she's been through so many loops that it begins to break and the memories are fragmented. Which something else. Somebody was talking about Maeve. I think Maeve's fragmentation. Right? Or Maeve was fragmented? I thought somebody made a mention to defragging or fragmentation. I thought defragging. I'm like, well, they need to defrag their hard drives.
Yeah,
that's why their memories are so slipshod all over the place. Because
some of them, like the older models.
The old ones.
Yeah, that could take place.
Yeah, so Lawrence's daughter showed up. And I was like, oh. Now, see, again, man, for a kid,
we might be dating ourselves by talking about the
fragmented
photos.
Hard drive.
No, the photos.
The photos. Daguerreotype.
We'll put it into context so the younger listeners can understand. It'd be like taking a picture and putting it in another Photoshop layer.
Oh, and lowering the opacity.
Yeah, that way you can see through it.
Yeah, there you go.
Because we're talking about actually
ISO
developing
film.
a photo.
I know. For a while, whenever I was younger, I entertained the idea of building my own darkroom.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
You never did it?
No.
Oh. See, we got to do that kind of stuff when I went to art school.
Mm-hmm.
We got to go into the dark room and
Mm-hmm.
see how film was actually came to life and all that fun stuff. But, they also had a photography major at that art school. So, yeah, people were encouraged to, just like me as an animator, you started out with doing the 2D drawings, like a flip book almost, and you'd go through the whole process before you could do the 3D stuff.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, it was the same with photography. It's like, oh, you guys need to go back to the roots, understand the beauty of it all. Same with the video production I went through. Good gosh, we actually spliced film so that when I got in front of
like
Premiere
one
Pro
frame
for the very first time, yeah, we would spool the film, and then you had to slice it with an actual razor.
Yep.
And then when you got in front of Premiere Pro for the first time, it's like, oh, look, a little razor tool. So you had that classical understanding of why things were the way they were, even
and I'm
digitized.
sure you probably took the opportunity to Tyler Durden one frame of porn in the mini movie.
A lot of my classmates did.
Okay, so well, back to the memory thing. I think Dolores remembers / dreams. She killed the town.
Yeah, because see, in her past, that's something I wrote. The city hasn't been buried in her past.
Right, the city hasn't been buried
So
in
that
her
made me
past.
question, when is William?
Right. Well, William's clearly 30-some years ago, to me.
Before the town was buried.
Yeah, before the town was buried. Long time ago.
But didn't they both come?
Because if you
upon
got
the town?
Man in Black as William, and you've got young guy's William,
yeah.
they're not 10 years apart. I mean, they are decades.
Definitely.
Decades.
No,
and
agreed,
they made
but...
somebody somewhere said the age of the part or something like was 34, 37 years old. And
okay, but see, here's my problem then. This is where I'm having a little struggle with this town that's been buried. They arrive there. William says this place is no good for you. All we saw was the steeple.
well, no,
It was
because
buried
that
when
well that's
William got
because no, that's because it might have been buried, but that's when Dolores really starts breaking down because she says, "Are you real?" And he said, "Yes, I'm real." And she says, "When are we?" She doesn't say, "Where are we?" She says, "When are we?" Because she's realizing, she's reliving her memories out of, in a manner in which she can't control, so she does not, you know what I mean? So like her consciousness is being yanked back and forth through time. Like she's turning into like one of those, like one of the alien things in Arrival. You watch that movie Arrival, the new one with the one chick.
Wait a minute. Are you talking Jodie Foster?
No, not Contact.
Oh, okay.
Where they built a $1 trillion machine to like go to another freaking planet, and then we're like,
Arrival
it got destroyed, but we built a secret $1 trillion machine that nobody seemed to notice.
With Lois
That's like
Lane.
a different.
That's
like
what you're talking about.
Yes, and it had
Amy Adams. Sorry.
Yeah, Amy Adams.
Lois Lane.
And Saw Gerrera's in it.
Yeah. See, this is how we remember actors.
God, what is his name? Why does that elude me?
Hang on, it's
Forrest Whitaker.
Yeah, Forrest Whitaker, and you also had, as like a fellow scientist or something, you had the Archer from Avengers.
Yeah, you had Hawkeye. Hawkeye was there. Jeremy Renner.
Yes.
Yep. He's going to be at one of the.
I have not seen that.
Okay, so in Arrival though, they get these aliens and they're whoa, and they're behind a glass thing, but they don't experience. They are non-linear, like they don't experience time, like their entire existence is happening to them all the time, and they can access any point of it. That's what's happening to Dolores. Because she has the ability to relive her memories, naturally she can't go forward, but she's effectively traveling in her mind, she's traveling to the past. And as the longer she runs, she'll be able to travel back and forth through a larger expanse of time in her head. But she's experiencing, you know what I mean? It's a delineation, maybe. Her time is not linear anymore. She can go back to any part of her past and access it as if she's experiencing it for the first time. And it's just busting her brain up, though. That's what because she says, "When are we? Oh my God, when are we?" Because
So for us, though, then that means whatever took place in that town that was buried under the sand happens before William's time.
Yes, that probably does happen before
William's
time.
Yeah, they come upon it. It's covered in sand and dirt.
Yeah,
He's like, this place isn't good for you. They leave.
And I think he's just saying this place isn't good for you because she's having problems the entire trip, and then when they get there, near the steeple, in that time, she's begun to break down so much. He's like, this place is not good for you. We need to get out of here because she's just rapidly deteriorating mentally.
So when is she going to come back to modern day then? Because in modern day, Ford's dug up that town.
Yeah, Ford's digging up the town. Right, Ford's digging up the town.
I think it's she's been completely excavated.
Yeah, she's going to be there twice, which I think is interesting because the way I don't know why they need to excavate it. I'm pretty sure with the budget this place seems to have, I'm sure they could throw up a couple buildings.
I don't know.
I don't know why they feel they need to excavate the town.
Maybe something took place there that they felt like they had to bury? I don't know.
No, it's no, I don't know. Maybe. For some reason, my brain took off that it was. Never mind. I don't even know.
I don't know.
I was getting confused with that town where the Man in Black and Ford and Lawrence all hang out. I keep wanting to call it Purgatory, but it's
Pariah.
Not. Pariah.
Pariah.
Yeah, Pariah.
We've been calling it Sodom and Gomorrah, but it's Pariah.
Oh, okay.
A city with
that's a whole different town too. Pariah is the place with the.
Well, that's I think is the
Goldfinger
town,
women.
Yeah, I think that's the town that introduces you to the Fringe. I don't think it is the Fringe yet. I think the place that's been covered by sand and dirt.
Well, the Fringe.
That's the Fringe.
Fringe is a canceled TV show. I hate to break it to you.
True.
The guy who writes it has something else he's doing right now, but I don't remember what it is. Good to know.
All right, so I wrote, Man in Black suffers from God complex. I don't know that he. Clue.
I don't know that I agree with that. I would totally agree if you said Ford does.
Well, yeah, we know Ford does, but
I don't think Man in Black does.
I had to write Man in Black suffers from God complex. He says something at some point. Probably says it to Teddy.
Probably. I was going to say it's probably while he's tied up and Teddy is getting stabbed with an arrowhead in the shoulder.
Poor little wussy boy.
I know, he's so sad. Well, I did notice, too, that Charlotte and that jerk from Narrative went downstairs and I guess decided that Dolores' old dad, out of that giant warehouse of 10,000 guys, is going to be like the drug mule. Like, all right, we're going to stick this thumb drive in a balloon. Right. And you're going to mule this puppy out of here for us, Dolores' old dad.
That's exactly what I said. I said Abernathy becomes the mule.
Yeah. Yep, he's gonna mule that stuff across customs. Hope it don't burst, buddy.
Well, I did. I wrote that same thing down. I'm like, okay, why are they choosing? Because clearly he's one of the older models too. He must be.
Oh, Abernathy?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, they mentioned Ford said earlier on in the series that he was one of the older models, and he'd been the professor, who was a Shakespearean, up into Shakespeare guy, which Shakespeare's all over.
So again, why in the world? I don't know. I find it interesting that why would an older model have a better capacity to hold 30 years worth of intel on top of some kind of narrative that's going to make him human-like enough to be able to get out of there? Why would something old have that capacity? Why wouldn't you go with something newer?
Well, they don't want. She broke it down real quick, and I don't remember exactly how it went, but they went down there, and she's like, "This one will do," and the guy, the ass makes a comment about like, why are you picking this raggedy old model? And she says, well, your phone or something, doesn't have that much space, but if we wipe out everything in this dude's heads, even the hosts are quite capacious or something.
Oh yeah.
Even after you've written enough in them of a personality to get them out the door. So she makes sort of a real quick generic comment about how, they're sort of, they have more space than your thumb drive, and enough room to shamble through a door.
Yeah.
But I did notice too that Mr. Stubbs talks to Bernard about where he says something about Elsie and her whereabouts a little bit. That's sort of like what gets him talking to Bernard. But then he mentions, or maybe it's not. Maybe the whole stupid thing was about Teresa. But he said, it's my job to know about these things. You two were very covert about it.
Yeah.
But it's what I do. And Bernard's like, you had it totally wrong. We were just good friends. And starts acting kind of weird. And you can tell by the way that Stubbs is looking at him that Stubbs knows something's up.
Clearly, yeah, because he's just like, what? You sure you don't want to take a day off?
Mm-hmm.
Because, he's just kind of like, I don't even know what you're talking about, dude, because
your lover
he's
just
already
died.
been rolled back.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, your lover just died. And the guy's like, what, who? Oh, no. We shook hands once or twice.
You're stupid.
Yep, the only time we exchanged bodily fluids was when she spit on my face.
Yep.
But, yeah, you get down there and, well, as the whole thing kept... Are you good?
Yeah,
you got more, man?
Notes? No, that's it.
The end? Oh, man.
You got me beat on this one, man, and I thought I took a lot of notes.
So check this out. I'd written down that at this point we get why the Man in Black is here, and that is 1 year prior. This is why.
Oh, we get his backstory.
But the 1 year prior is him killing Maeve and her daughter. He goes back. His wife dies. He says took the wrong pills, drowned in the bathtub. And his daughter blames him.
Exactly, removed from him.
Right, so his daughter blames him, says you're a monster, so he decides, I'm going to go back into Westworld, not to, have fun or, an escape or anything else. He specifically goes back in to find out who he is and what he's capable of. So he specifically seeks out a woman and her child to kill them.
Well, and he makes the
comment, see what he feels.
Yeah, he makes the comment that if he kept it very well hidden from everybody in the real world, how he really was.
Oh yeah, he's like, I built walls and himself. Right. His daughter said he builds these walls of all these great deeds, and when he stacks them up, the only thing they do is they wall off who he really is.
Yeah, and so to find out who he was or how he'd feel, he goes after.
He thought, you know what? What's the best way I can think to see? I'm gonna murder a child.
Yeah, and I think Teddy hit it on the nose. It's like, you're a monster. Because why? I mean, no. There is a good, solid reason why the people at Rockstar in their infinite wisdom did not include children in GTA 5.
Yeah, that's why, because it'd wind up like Westworld. You got people running around.
Are you kidding? They wouldn't get past the freaking rating system if they did something like that.
No.
If you could casually drive around and, I just hit a little kid.
Yeah.
It's different when you hit an adult.
Yeah, for some reason. A tall human being is okay. You get into a short, younger one. And
imagine if they put midgets in that game.
Yeah, suddenly morality.
Or small people, I'm sorry. Small people, isn't that the PC term?
Maybe.
Goodness. Oh, could you imagine that? Could you imagine that? You'd be able to have like little people throwing contests and things in the game.
Toss me.
My.
Toss me. All right.
Don't tell the elf.
Don't tell the elf. Toss me. Well, and also in that scene, in the flashback, the Man in Black is in busts into Maeve's house, right?
Yeah.
And she's like, pulls the sword out of her tum-tum.
Right.
And does the same thing she did to Sylvester, though. She goes, ha, and swings it, hits him in the neck. Mm-hmm. He's like, ah. Mm-hmm. Flashback. No scarf. With Teddy, Man in Black has a scarf around his neck. I just noticed that. I'm not sure if that's... I mean, it might be something dumb. But it's just one of those little things I noticed in the flashbacks in Maeve. He doesn't have the scarf that he wears around his neck.
Oh, yeah.
And now he's got a scarf that he wears around his neck. Mm. Which also, I mean, Maeve's clearly been able to hurt people for at least the last year.
Yeah, she is a dangerous piece of work, that's for sure.
Yeah.
I cannot contest that. Shoot.
Yeah. Whenever they were checking her out, I think Sylvester had his tablet up, and I thought that Maeve's... Aggression. He said Maeve's heavy... No, he said Maeve's got heavy fragmentation.
Okay.
And the fragmentation looked a bit like maybe a maze, because it was a circle,
really?
Like a disc that had little blocks missing, and I thought it just looked like an old maze. Not so much similar to like exactly the maze that we see, but I just thought it kind of looked like a maze, and that may have been...
Oh, that's curious.
Projection there. But I'd also kind of noted too that Maeve says whenever because this is sort of a loop for Ford, I guess, but of a kind. But Maeve, whenever she loses her child and flips out, they drag her back downstairs. Even after she's refused to die, and she's still thrashing around while the butchers hold her. Ford comes in, and Ford's like, "That's enough. Calm yourself, John. Calm yourself, John Spartan." And she's okay. So she dials it back a bit, and then Ford starts.
Well, Bernard was there too.
Yeah, Bernard was there. Yeah, see, check this out, and that's what makes me wonder how long Bernard's been in the state he's in. A little bit because, or at least host Bernard. Is that whenever Ford begins to preach to her about how amazing and all powerful he is, like a deity, his God complex kind of kicks in, and he begins to, your life is so simple, and in that you live here free of, guilt and suffering and pain. And he says, it's not that big of a deal. I'll just wipe your memory and you won't remember your daughter. And Maeve says, but this pain is all I have left of her.
Right.
Which is verbatim what Bernard says to his wife when he's talking about his son. She's like, don't you wish sometimes you could forget?
Call, yeah.
And he says, but this pain is all I have left of him. And so I wondered, well, is that something that Ford had just picked out of his mind and given to Bernard? Because that would have been a year ago. And there's no way to know with the hosts, with them being able to relive memories, time passing. Also, whenever there's one... Right? Yeah, so there's no way to know, same as Dolores. So I'm like, maybe Bernard's has only had the memory of his dead son for the last year, because Ford thought of it then because Ford's just got that button to jab on Bernard. Oh, your dead son. Oh, your dead son. Oh, your dead son. And I wonder if he picked it up from Maeve's child dying.
So we're questioning the reality of his son?
Who, Bernard?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, at this point, yeah. For me.
I hadn't thought of that. That's...
Right, because Bernard is clearly established as a host, so they don't have children. It's just something that Ford gave him to just jab. So.
No, that's a great, valid point.
And maybe I brought that up in the past.
So the kid doesn't exist.
I don't even remember what we talked about. Yeah, Bernard's son.
Well. It was way back. I think it was in the pilot or episode 2, and I want to say it was Elsie that brought it up. But she talked about how. What did she refer to though? I can't recall. She talked about the loops needing something that tied them back to something. I
don't know.
I can't remember what it was.
Oh, okay.
But no,
maybe you've been reformatted.
Yeah,
Your loop's been reset.
I feel that way on these trips sometimes, man.
Yeah.
I wake up and it's like, oh, hey, I'm going through the same freaking crap I went through yesterday.
Yeah.
Great fun.
Yeah.